Businesses in Richmond and Henrico are still feeling the effects from January's water crisis, while they say it's been tough to recover from the loss of business.
Governor Glenn Youngkin says he signed close to 100 bills in a variety of areas, highlighting several of the bills that he says will help Virginia's businesses and job sectors. Our Brendan King is live with the details.
Yeah, slam dunk from Xavier in the first 4 game. We have your March Madness matchups happening today, including when you can see the VCU Rams take on BYU later today.
This is CBS 6 This Morning.
Good morning. We're coming up on 6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday, March 20th. I'm Rob Cardwell.
And I'm Reba Hollingsworth. Kristen will have a check on the roads coming up in a few minutes, but first, it's going to check on that forecast from Mike. It is the first day of spring, Mike.
Yeah, guys. In fact, it's almost an hour old. It happened at 5:01 this morning. So it's the start of astronomical spring, and it's actually still going to feel very spring-like today. Yesterday we had a high of 76, and today it will be pretty close to that. We'll have some showers and thunderstorms coming in later this afternoon. Outside right now, we have a mix of stars and a few clouds, so skies are clear to partly cloudy. Sunrise is just a little bit away at 7:12. And temperatures right now, we have a few 30s to the far north and west, Orange and Culpeper, but we have a lot of 40s and 50s elsewhere. In fact, it's 56 over in Danville, about 48 to 50 across the metro, and some upper 40s and low 50s near the coast. But everyone's up at least a few degrees, with the exception of Louisa, versus 24 hours ago, we're about 10 to 15 degrees warmer across the metro. We have a few clouds here locally. Here's the cold front we're watching off towards the west. There's that little narrow channel of rain. That's going to come through towards about mid to late afternoon. But before that comes in, we'll make it up in the low and mid 70s. The breeze will pick up. We'll have some gusts over 30 miles an hour, and a really high chance of rain once we get past about 2 o'clock through about 6. After that, the chance of rain will go down. Behind this front, it turns a little bit cooler for tomorrow, but it's going to warm back up for part of the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up. Rob, Reba.
All right, thanks, Mike. We have breaking news out of Richmond where police are investigating a homicide. It happened in the 400 block of East Brooklyn Park Avenue just after 2 this morning. Police say a man was shot and was later pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at numbers at the bottom of your screen.
The impacts from January's water crisis continue to be felt by Richmond and Henrico businesses who were unable to operate for days.
While some relief is out there for ones in Richmond, Henricos are ineligible to apply. Our Maggie Marshall shares the voice of one business struggling to bounce back.
Charles Kitchen here in the West End is one of the many small restaurants that operate paycheck to paycheck. The owner tells me they've had to almost close their doors because of the impact, and if it wasn't for the flexibility their landlord has provided. In a Henrico strip mall filled with many restaurants.
What I do is a little different, it's a little bit more exciting.
Sits one that is struggling to keep serving their community.
Where you at?
Where I'm at?
Yeah.
I'm at Charlie.
You better believe it.
The owner of Charles Kitchen.
Gotcha. Would that be all for you?
Yes, sir.
Says times are tough.
The water crisis came and make it unpalatable.
The restaurant is one of hundreds in Henrico and the city of Richmond that closed for days in January. They did not have water and then were under a boil water advisory after failures at Richmond's water plant.
Our sale just dropped zero.
Things didn't immediately get better though when they reopened.
They didn't trust the water. They just didn't trust the water, period. But people just started trickling like a leaky faucet.
The restaurant became behind on rent.
Not having those funds kind of like push us back a lot.
Their landlord allowed them to have an extension for rent. However, they learned they wouldn't be eligible for the small business water recovery grant through the city because their business operates in the county.
It's a little suck. It's a little, because we are going through the same problem that Richmond is going through. And it's the same problem that caused Richmond is the same problem that caused us. So we feel that we should be able to.
So far, the Metropolitan Business League, who is distributing the city's grants, has seen nearly 200 applications in the first 2 days of being open. Henrico County does not have a small business recovery grant in place. We're waiting for a response in regards to Charles's concerns. A spokesperson for the city says, quote, "This is an initiative established by the city with financial support by the Economic Development Authority and private sector partners with the intent for businesses operating within the city of Richmond." Richmond businesses are able to apply for that water recovery grant through the Metropolitan Business League from now until the 28th. We have a link where you can do so on our website at WTVR.com. In Henrico, I'm Maggie Marshall, CBS 6 News.
And to check out our full coverage of Richmond's water crisis, you can always head to our website, WTVR.com, or download the free CBS 6 News app. Governor Glenn Youngkin has signed close to 100 new bills into law and spent time Wednesday highlighting ones that he says will help grow Virginia businesses and jobs.
Brendan King is here with us in the studio sharing what other legislation Democrats say he should also be approving. Brendan.
At a press conference yesterday, Governor Glenn Youngkin told reporters that he's focused on bills that are good for Virginia businesses, and he's not signing bills that are bad for business. The bipartisan bills Youngkin did sign are a part of several dozen he announced his support for Wednesday, and among 900 bills still under consideration that lawmakers approved earlier this year. That includes bills that give incentives to advanced manufacturing companies, a bill he says will allow the country's very first commercial nuclear fusion plant to be constructed in Chesterfield. We're also hearing from the Democrats.
What we've been doing is not only working, but it has positioned Virginia to lead. That we continue to strive to be a state that invests in sites, a state that deregulates and streamlines burdens, a state that reduces taxes.
The issues that are facing working families, and the governor never speaks to those concerns.
Let's expand on that. That is State Senator Ghazala Hashmi. She questioned why Youngkin has not yet signed bills like paid family sick leave or raising the minimum wage. Youngkin has until Monday to sign, veto, or amend the 800-plus other bills passed by lawmakers. You'll hear more from both sides of the aisle. That's ahead at 6:30.
All right. Thanks, Brendan.
6:05. Let's get a check on traffic right now. Here's Kristen.
Moving along just fine. We're at the 85-95 interchange here, Robin Reba. This is the Petersburg area, and 95 and 85 southbound would be the headlights moving towards us. 95, 85 northbound. You can see those taillights working away from us heading up towards Bank Street there, so it looks pretty good. A couple problems around town. Let me take you to Henrico. Interstate 295 southbound, mile marker 24. We're seeing some activity on the south right shoulder. A crash reported. That's just after 895 Pocahontas Parkway. Take a look at real-time traffic, however, so you're just south of the 64-295 interchange there in eastern Henrico, and you're heading down the interstate. And again, that activity off to the south right shoulder, you're able to get by in the open travel lanes. That's why we're still showing up as green for real-time traffic. Crash here. We are west of Route 288, Kelly Green Drive at South Old 100 Road. This is near one of the roundabouts in the area, which would be here close to the chapel, if you're familiar with that area in Midlothian. Rob, Reba.
All right, thanks. An event for families showcasing valuable resources, products, and services that enhance the lives of children and adults. That's coming to Chesterfield.
Caroline Coburn is live with all the details you need to know about the Baby and Family Expo. Caroline.
Well, Rob Reba, good morning. Radio 1 has partnered with Anthem Health Keepers to host the first ever Baby and Family Expo at Chesterfield Town Center this weekend. The free event will provide new and existing families with valuable resources, products, and services to help them navigate parenthood. You can expect a variety of vendors, including counseling and insurance providers, interactive activities, demonstrations, and exercises, as well as a fully stocked baby prize giveaway that includes a new crib, bottle warmer, and baby monitor. Anissa Turner-Randolph with Radio 1 says the event should serve as a one-stop shop for families looking for help and information during what can also often be a beautiful but stressful time.
When you're about to bring a new generation into this world, especially during this time, it can feel very overwhelming. It can feel like, what the heck am I doing? Whether you have your first child or your fifth child, every child is different. So we definitely want to be the one to provide just that relief.
Now, the event will run from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. this Saturday, again at the Chesterfield Town Center, right behind the food court. We'll have much more ahead at 6:30. Rob, Reba.
All right, thanks, Caroline. You know, today is the first day of spring, and the season typically brings pollen and seasonal allergies. The Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America has released its list of American cities it has dubbed allergy capitals. The nonprofit found that the most problematic regions for allergy sufferers are in the Midwest and the Southeast. For a third year in a row, Wichita, Kansas takes the top spot. The report cites that the city's higher than average tree and grass pollen for its first place ranking. New Orleans and Oklahoma City ranked second and third, with Tulsa and Memphis rounding out the top 5. Richmond is not that far behind, ranking as the 8th allergy capital in the country, according to this survey. Virginia Beach comes in 11th.
You know, I used to think it was just me that allergy season was getting longer and longer, but there is science to back it up. Here's Mike.
There is. You know what? Years and years ago, we started to get tree pollen season in April and grass pollen season in May, but now we're starting to get tree pollen season sometimes in early March and some grass pollen by April. In fact, over the last 50 years, thanks to the fact that things have been getting warmer, our growing season, our allergy season is about a month longer than it used to be 50 some years ago, and we have high values of tree pollen across the area again today. We'll talk about some rain that's going to arrive this afternoon in the 7-day forecast coming up. But time now for another Window World picture at 6:09, and this is from Richard Webb, and this is called Sunset in Jackson Ward. It's a very colorful, gorgeous shot. Thank you, Richard. If you want to send us a picture like Richard did, you can email it pics@wtvr.com or use the CBS 6 Weather Authority app.
That's a great pick. All right, thanks, Mike. A Virginia-based nonprofit has been supporting injured veterans for over 2 decades. Next, how the organization changed the life of a former soldier who lost the use of his legs. That's in your positive start to your day.
President Donald Trump is expected to sign an executive order today to begin dismantling the Department of Education. This follows the agency announcing workforce cuts of nearly 50% earlier this month. About 1,300 employees were laid off, with hundreds more taking voluntary buyouts. Now, according to a Trump administration official, the president will direct Department of Education Secretary Linda McMahon to take the steps needed to, quote, return education authority to the states. President Trump says the DOE is a sign of federal overreach, but it's unclear how many states want to take over its responsibilities. The National Education Association president says dismantling the DOE aims at a wrecking ball at the futures of some 50 million students. I was at River City Middle School yesterday, where the Richmond Education Association held this, one of a number of protests against cuts. And they tell me that they believe more cuts to education will make existing problems even worse.
We already know what cuts to education look like. They look like larger classroom sizes, less support, less trained teachers, bodies in a room. We already have a teacher shortage.
Even with the executive order, shutting down the department entirely would require an act of Congress.
The CEO of Amtrak is stepping down. In a statement, Stephen Gardner says he is resigning to ensure the company, quote, continues to enjoy the full faith and confidence of this administration. Gardner was appointed to the CEO position in 2022 and had worked at Amtrak for 16 years. His resignation comes after Department of Government Efficiency head Elon Musk said earlier this month that he believes Amtrak should be privatized. Since Amtrak is a federally chartered corporation, the federal government is the company's majority stockholder. Amtrak has pushed back on the notion that it should be privatized by arguing that profitability is not its main mission.
15 minutes after the hour, let's get a check on the weather you're waking up to. Hi, Mike.
Hey guys, well, today is our first day of spring and it is going to be nice and warm again. Yesterday made it up into the mid 70s and today we should crack 70 across a lot of central Virginia at a time of year where the normal high 61. Sun's up at 7:12. It'll set tonight at 7:22. The direct rays of the sun, which are in the southern hemisphere for winter, are now directly over the equator. They're going to start pushing farther northward as we get closer to summer, but the vernal equinox was at 5:01 this morning, so just a little over an hour ago. We have a nice southerly wind that's giving us some pretty mild temperatures for this time of year. We're in the upper 40s and low 50s across the metro. A little cooler north and west, some upper 30s and low 40s there. And we're watching this cold front off towards the west. There's this little batch of precipitation here, which is going to grow a little bit. We have a few hours of rain to get through, and that's going to be later on this afternoon. Right now, we have a mix of some clear sky off towards the west, some clouds central and eastern Virginia. We'll start to see more of an increase in clouds as the day wears on. So increasing clouds across the area today. Some showers in far western Virginia by about the noontime hour, west of I-95 by about 1 or 2 o'clock, and into central Virginia between about 2 and 4 p.m. Rain could come down at a pretty good clip for a little while, and it could even have a few little rumbles of thunder in there, especially as it crosses into eastern Virginia. So that first batch comes through mid to late afternoon into early evening. That moves on off, and there'll be a few scattered showers behind that main line, which will last through about late evening, and then after that, we'll clear out overnight tonight. Our computer models put out anywhere from about 1/10 of an inch to almost an inch of rain, but we average a lot of them. It's about 4/10 of an inch of rain. so some of us will get a pretty decent soaking this afternoon. High temperatures in the 60s near the coast and farther towards the west, low and mid 70s across central Virginia. Front comes through tonight. Tomorrow morning's colder with lows in the 30s to around 40. Tomorrow afternoon, not as warm. We'll have some 50s and low 60s, but cooler near the coast. Temperatures go back up to around 70 on Saturday. Then a cold front's going to come through Saturday evening. It won't cause any rain here. It may cause a sprinkle up by D.C. if we're traveling up that way, but it'll bring in some cooler air for the second half of the weekend with highs in the 50s and 60s, but it will still be decently warm across far southwestern Virginia if you're traveling out that way. Some gusty winds today over 30 miles an hour. We'll have some gusts over 25 the next couple days, so pretty breezy into the first half of the weekend. We'll have that cooler weather on Sunday again. A chance of showers on Monday with a high back close to 70. We'll be dry for the most part on Tuesday. Another chance of a few showers on Wednesday with a high around 60. Reba.
Thanks, Mike. For over 20 years, a Virginia-based nonprofit has been lending a hand to critically wounded, ill, or injured veterans all across the country.
Yeah, and your positive start to your day, we hear the voice of one retired Army Master Sergeant who says this group gave him the gift of independence after he lost the use of his legs. In 2018, Logan Brokaw was involved in a training accident. After being in a coma for 13 days, the James City County native woke up paralyzed from the waist down. In the following weeks, Brokaw received support from the Semper Fi and America's Fund. Run by veterans and military spouses, this organization pays for short-term emergency expenses. And they've really helped him out, too. Over the last few years, the nonprofit has provided Brokaw with a case manager, an adaptive sled hockey gear, and this action track chair so he can move around his home independently.
A lot of veterans are very hesitant to reach out and ask for help for a myriad of reasons, and you know, it's important to know that the fund is there to help.
We're there to wrap our arms around them as well and help them with all the little things of daily life that can make taking care of a loved one difficult.
Since its inception in 2004, the Semper Fi and America's Fund has helped nearly 34,000 veterans.
Oh, that is good. You know, March Madness is in full swing, and today is the day VCU puts on their dancing shoes. We're sharing the outcomes of the first 4 games yesterday, plus when you can see the Rams take on BYU.
And good morning to you. Traffic looks okay this time of the morning. Let's take a look outside. We have a couple different camera views. I still want to point out the flashing lights that you may see. The construction zone 95 at Parham Road, mile marker 83 north of the Bryant Park interchange, and those flashing lights there on the bridge. And you will notice a lane closure to the right side, but the bridge you'll still have access to. This is Interstate 95 in both directions, and traffic's getting along. 95 near Belvedere Street, so we're heading downtown. The vehicle's moving away from us. If you're passing up Belvedere Street, you could head to the 95-64 interchange. That's the flyover at the Chaco Valley Bridge. Lanes are open. In Chesterfield, 95 southbound Willis Road here, about mile marker 64, and 95 northbound, taillights away from us. South Park Boulevard, so we're in Colonial Heights this time of the morning. I would say more company here in the northbound direction. Headlights moving towards us. That's north of the 85-95 interchange in Petersburg. 2 problems to watch for. Let's start with this one. Robin Reba, this is Interstate 295 southbound. Activity at mile marker 24. That's just after the 895 Pocahontas Parkway interchange. Back to you.
I-295 southbound, remember that. Hey, the first 4 is officially in the books. That refers to the first 4 single elimination games, narrowing the field of 68 to 64 for the first round of the NCAA tournament. Number 11 seed Xavier stunning Texas with an 86-80 comeback win to cap 2 incredible days of basketball from Dayton, Ohio. The Musketeers will now face the number 6 seed Illinois Friday in the first round. Mount St. Mary's defeated American 83-72 to pick up its 3rd NCAA tournament within its program history. They entered the tournament as the 16th seed. Mount St. Mary's will face Cooper Flagg and number 1 seed Duke on Friday. This afternoon at 4:05, that's what we're waiting for. The BC Rams taking on BYU, a team that the program hasn't faced in over 40 years. However, VCU's coach Ryan Odom is a little familiar with the program from his 2 years at Utah State.
And because of today's scheduled games on CBS 6, there are some programming changes you need to know about. The Jennifer Hudson Show will air at 10 a.m. You can watch Creighton take on Louisville starting at noon, and Alabama State versus Auburn at 2:50 p.m. And the Arkansas versus Kansas game, Kristen will be watching that one. That game is at 7. And the Omaha versus St. John's game is at 9:45. We will all be asleep. We will not have a noon, a 4 p.m. or a 7:30 p.m. newscast today, but we will have the news at 5, 6, and 11.
How you feeling about Kansas's chance?
50-50.
Really?
That's a compliment.
I know. I'd like to be a little more optimistic, but we had a tough season, I'd say. But we started off the entire season at #1, so we just kind of fell after
But
that.
you know, things could change in this game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Two teams,
Tournament play is
yeah.
completely different. You're one and done, so you play with your heart. For
Exactly.
Sure. Brackets are due by noon.
And by
Plenty of
noon.
time.
Go Rams. Go Rams.
Well, a must attend for families eager to discover valuable resources that enhance the lives of children. That's happening this weekend. Caroline Colburn will have the details for us for Radio 1's the first Baby and Family Expo and the importance of this event.
We are coming up on 6:30. This daycare in Chester set to lose its license after a child wandered onto this busy road last month. We're going to tell you what we're learning about who was actually watching that child.
Plus, Governor Youngkin is highlighting several new bills he signed into law he says will help grow Virginia businesses and jobs. The other legislation Democrats say he should also be approving.
This is CBS 6 This Morning.
Good morning. We're so glad you're with us on this Thursday, March 20th. I'm Rob Cardwell.
And I'm Reba Hollingsworth. Thanks for staying with us this morning. Before we get to Kristen's traffic and your news of the day, we want to send it over to Mike Stone in for Tom this morning with a look at your forecast on this first day of spring. Mike.
Yes, in fact, start at 5:01, Rob and Reba, and it's actually going to be another pretty warm day. Yesterday we got into the mid to upper 70s across parts of the area, and today we'll get into at least the low 70s. Right now we have some temperatures in the upper 40s and low 50s, a little bit cooler to the north and west where we have some 30s up there. And versus this time yesterday, just about every place is up at least a few degrees, if not 10 or more from 24 hours ago. We have a mix of clouds and stars outside right now. There is that batch of rain that we're watching off towards the west from Ohio down to just west of Atlanta. That's going to be here towards later this afternoon. But before the rain gets here, we should touch or break 70 across the metro. In fact, we might make it up to about 75 by about 2 or 3 o'clock before the rain starts to come in. Then once it does, temperatures will drop down through the 60s and the 50s. We're expecting a dry morning, and then the chance of rain really ramps up after about 1 o'clock, and mid to late afternoon into early evening is our best chance of seeing some showers and thunderstorms. Some of that rain could be a little on the heavy side in a few areas, but this is the first day of spring, and we'll be looking at our first weekend of spring coming up in a little bit, which includes a little bit of a temperature change. That's all in just a little bit, guys.
Thanks, Mike. In the news, the Chester daycare, where a child wandered onto a busy road last month, will fight the state's attempt to try and shut it down. The Virginia Department of Education sent the daycare owner a notice last month saying that the state intends to revoke the religious exemption to operate. That was after a Department of Social Services report found that a 17-year-old had been watching 4 small children at the Fortress of God Child Care on February 21st. One of those children escaped and wandered out onto West 100 Road. VDOE confirmed to our Melissa Hippolyte that Fortress of God has appealed the notice. The daycare has since reopened, with the owner also telling Melissa separate fire code violations have also been rectified. An informal conference on the daycare's license will be held on April 9th. Of course, we'll keep you updated. Hundreds of new bills now have Governor Youngkin's signature to become laws.
Several of those are aimed at helping to grow Virginia businesses and jobs. Brendan King joins us now in the studio explaining those laws and how Democrats are responding. Brendan.
And this morning, the Democrats are criticizing Governor Glenn Youngkin, saying he's not talking about issues that are facing working families. The governor says he's focused on bills that are good for Virginia businesses. The bipartisan bills Youngkin did sign are a part of several dozen he announced his support for Wednesday. Just some of the 900 bills lawmakers passed earlier this year. Among them, a bill expanding the state funding to get sites ready for businesses to move in, mostly available for smaller localities.
On top of that, I will be including in my budget amendments incremental money for site investment. I think we've demonstrated that the ability to continue to invest over years in site development is a clear winner. and we need to continue to do that.
Paid family and sick leave, raising the minimum wage, assuring that there are child care options and protections for so many working families. We didn't hear anything about affordable housing.
In past years, Youngkin has vetoed the minimum wage increase and paid family sick leave. He has until just Monday to either sign, veto, or amend the 800-plus other bills passed by lawmakers. You can find more about that on our website, WTVR.com.
Brendan King reporting for us. Thanks.
All right, here's Kristen now with a look at the roads.
All right, we're on the Chaco Valley Bridge, Robin Reba, 64 westbound, so leaving Eastern Henrico, and you can see travel lanes are open in both directions here, maybe picking up more company, so a slight tap of the brakes, a little bit of a slowdown here in that left lane. This would be the ramp to 95 southbound, the center lane, right lane, the ramp to 95 northbound. So here's the edge of the bridge, and you can see from time to time just a brake light there. This would be 64 eastbound, heading out towards 360, Mechanicsville Turnpike or into Eastern Henrico. Coming up from Interstate 95, looking good. Couple problems on the board. Let's take you to the Midlothian area. This is at the intersection Kelly Green Drive at South Old 100 Road. It's here close to this traffic circle, and take a look behind it. We are seeing some minor delays with flashing lights on scene. This is near the chapel in Midlothian, if you're familiar with that area, again west of Route 288. In Henrico, coming down Interstate 295 southbound after the 895 Pocahontas Parkway interchange. The south right shoulder is closed. This is due to a crash, and this is activity that's just south of the 295-64 interchange in Eastern Henrico. Rob?
Thanks, Kristen. The first ever Radio 1 Baby and Family Expo is happening this weekend.
Carolyn Coburn is live in the newsroom detailing the importance of the event and valuable resources available for families. Caroline.
Rob Reba, good morning. This event will be a one-stop shop for families, offering financial, mental health, and other resources that can help you navigate that journey to parenthood. Radio 1 has partnered with Anthem Health Keepers for this free event at Chesterfield Town Center on Saturday. The event will also feature a variety of vendors, including counseling and insurance providers, interactive activities, demonstrations, and exercises, as well as a fully stocked baby prize giveaway with a new crib, bottle warmer, and baby monitor. Anissa Turner Randolph with Radio 1 says dads and kids will also be able to find resources Saturday, but there will be a lot of information and help for both new and existing moms, as they know the journey to having a child can be difficult.
Bringing into a family should be beautiful and not anxious. And so coming to this event, we just hope that you'll be able to leave with something, whatever the thing that you need. Mental health resources, because postpartum is a thing. Going through pregnancy, whether you're married or a single mom or whatever your life situation is, it can be a lot. So mental resources, again, that financial piece is key. So we're gonna have that on site, and just different activities for kids that you currently have as well, because we want them to feel important. Maybe they have a new brother or sister coming into this world. And so I think that this event is just gonna be really meaningful and impactful.
The Virginia Fire Department will also be on site on Saturday to provide fire safety tips and resources. You can find this event set up behind the Chesterfield Town Center food court on Saturday. It's going to run from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Rob Reba.
All right, and if you have a story for Caroline, give her a call at the number on your screen, or send an email to caroline.colburn@WTVR.com, and maybe she can help share your voice too.
With so many Americans watching their wallets right now, there are some expenses you just can't avoid. And if you have little ones at home, that includes diapers, which can be pretty expensive. That's why Chesterfield is holding its 12th annual diaper drive this month. Residents and businesses are encouraged to purchase new unopened packages of diapers and wipes to help out hundreds of families enrolled with the Families First program. They connect directly with families who need assistance. You can donate to the diaper drive in several ways. There's a link to an Amazon wish list on the Chesterfield.gov website, or you can drop off donations at any Chesterfield Public Library, with the exception of LaPrade Library, which is closed for renovations. Donations will be accepted into the end of March.
6:36. Let's find out what the weather looks like on this very first day of spring. Hi, Mike.
Hey guys, well, it's actually pretty mild outside right now. We have temperature around 50 degrees. It's going to be breezy today. These clouds will increase across the region first part of the day, so there will be some sunshine, but the chance of rain goes rapidly up as we go throughout the afternoon, especially after about 2 o'clock in the metro. Some showers and thunderstorms will track through the area, but again, it's not going to rain the whole day. It's mainly going to be mid to late afternoon into the early evening, but highs today in the low to mid 70s. We'll be cooler tomorrow. We'll talk about that in the 7-day forecast coming up, but time now for our final window world picture of the morning for this Thursday. Sunrise on the northern neck is this one from Bill Keller. So thank you, sir, for sending that one in. If you want to send us a pic, the email address is pics@wtvr.com, or you can use that handy dandy free CBS 6 Weather Authority app.
It is handy and dandy. Yeah. It's a major step toward what Petersburg expects to be an economic boom. How much money officials say the new casino project could bring in, and what those opposed to the project are saying.
Plus, President Trump wants the IRS to share taxpayer data with the Department of Homeland Security. We're going to explain why next.
You're watching CBS 6, part of the Scripps News Group.
The Trump administration says that the IRS is discussing turning over your taxpayer data to the Department of Homeland Security. The administration says sharing the highly confidential IRS taxpayer data could lead to deportations of undocumented immigrants who have registered with the IRS and pay taxes. The agency is required to keep their private information confidential, except for every specific circumstances detailed in the tax code. A Justice Department lawyer says the IRS would only divulge information about undocumented immigrants if DHS wants data on a specific person. That would have to fall under provisions allowing legal disclosures. As of now, there is no emergency order blocking the IRS from sharing that information.
Purdue Pharma hopes a bankruptcy judge will approve its reorganization plan. The OxyContin drug maker says under the new plan filed Wednesday, Purdue Pharma will be dissolved and its assets transferred to a new company. The new public benefit company will focus on the opioid epidemic, and it comes about 2 months after Purdue Pharma and its Sackler family owners agreed to a $7.4 billion settlement. The deal will resolve thousands of lawsuits which allege OxyContin pain medication caused a nationwide opioid addiction crisis. It also means the Sacklers will have no ownership interest or a role with this new company.
A historic moment in Petersburg, the official groundbreaking for the largest economic project in the city's history and in the region.
4 months after the citizens of Petersburg voted to bring a casino to the community, the reality is starting to set in here. Cordish Gaming saying over the next decade, the project is expected to bring billions of dollars in economic impact spread out across the state, the region, and Petersburg specifically. And while many are excited about the potential money and exposure, there have been some that are against it.
It's going to bring a lot of people in that don't know anything about Petersburg. Petersburg is such a historic city, one of the most historic cities in the country. And this will bring them in here where they will learn and actually take advantage of the downtown as well as this casino.
It's a direct transfer of wealth from people who are already economically devastated, promising to do things for us with our money that we're literally giving to them.
The casino referendum passed back in November with an overwhelming 82% of the vote.
It is 6:42. Let's go to Kristen now with a look at the roads.
All right, looks like a vehicle's pulled over to the side of the roadway. Robin Reba, this is a little tough because this is the James River Bridge, 95 southbound, the Commerce Road, Maury Street exit, and you see that vehicle there that's moved over. Looks like flashing lights now. No VDOT safety truck on scene, so as they're on their way, you may need to move over once you notice any vehicles, emergency vehicles on their way to assist here. It looks like the Commerce Road exit still remains open. You can see some of those vehicles moving off to the right side of the roadway, but we are seeing a bit of a brake check, some minor delays passing by. It's going to be a little tricky as you're veering off to the right side of the roadway. 95 northbound, picking up more company there, stretching from Maury Street, the James River Bridge, into the downtown area. All right, let's take a look at what's happening in Hanover. You may have noticed that left lane has been closed all week. This was the bridge rehabilitation work, Interstate 95 southbound after the Kings Dominion Boulevard exit. Right now, no delays through the area. It was expected that we were going to see all lanes reopened by about 9 o'clock. They may be ahead of schedule and reopening travel lanes through the area now. Heads up for a crash. We are west of Route 288, Kelly Green Drive at South Old 100 Road. Things are clearing up now as crews are making progress. There's still a little bit of a brake check at the traffic circle. This is near the chapel in Midlothian if you're familiar with that area. The south right shoulder remains closed in Henrico, Robin Reba, 295 southbound. Just after the 895 Pocahontas Parkway interchange, I'd say at about mile marker 24, that's where you'll see the activity. Reba?
All right, thanks, Kristen. A new exhibit at the Virginia Museum of History and Culture explores the Commonwealth's important role in the American Revolution. The exhibit is called Give Me Liberty, Virginia and the Forging of a Nation. It is opening in conjunction with the 250th anniversary of Patrick Henry's famous speech that he made at St. John's Church here in Richmond. The exhibition will be the first major showing in the nation focused on commemorating America's 250th anniversary. Curator Andrew Talkov says the museum partnered with the Jamestown-Yorktown Foundation to determine what should be included. Brendan got a sneak peek at the virtual reenactments and unique artifacts collected from museums across the Commonwealth and untold stories of Virginians.
So people that come to this exhibit at the Virginia Museum of History and Culture are going to see stories they may be familiar with, like the founders, Jefferson, Washington. They're a key part of the Revolutionary story, but so was every Virginian. So people will learn stories about the men, women, free and enslaved who lived in Virginia and were faced with significant choices as the Revolutionary story unfolded.
The exhibit is free with admission and opens to the public starting on Saturday, but museum members can view it early starting today.
Patrick Henry's famous speech. Can you remember what the weather was like that day when you went there?
Well, you know what? I remember it being a particularly cool day,
yeah?
if I'm not mistaken.
Give me air conditioning or give me a heater or give me death.
Give me HVAC or give me death. Yeah, memory's a little hazy. I am getting up there in years. I can't remember that far back. Hey guys, it's the first day of spring. It started at 5:01 this morning, and our sunrise this morning is at 7:12. Look at the gorgeous sky we have out at Richmond International Airport. I have a few clouds outside right now. They're going to increase during the day today, but it's currently 50 degrees with a south wind at 8, and that southerly component of the wind is going to give us nice warm temperatures like it did yesterday. Go back to the first day of winter. Sunrise was at 7:21 Eastern Standard Time, and the sun set at 4:55. Remember that? Well, a little over 9.5 hours of daylight today. First day of spring, sunrise is at 7:12. The sun sets at 7:22 Eastern Daylight Time. We have 12 hours and 10 minutes of daylight, so we've gotten roughly 2.5 hours more daylight since the start of winter. We're going to get about another 2.5 hours of daylight between now and the start of summer in later June. Right now, upper 40s and low 50s for most of the area, although it is 38 up there in Culpeper, so it's a nice mild morning. Our normal lows in the 30s this time of year. There's a cold front off towards the west. We're going to have that south wind ahead of it, giving us some warm temperatures. Yesterday made up to 76. Today will be in the low mid 70s. The winds wrap around area low pressure here, and that's bringing colder air behind it. And that cooler air is going to come in tomorrow. What's really going to do is just kind of settle us back down to where we should be for this time of year. But look at that. All of the eastern seaboard anywhere from a few degrees to many degrees above normal for most locations, including us. We have some snow out by Chicago up into the Great Lakes. No worries about that for us. We're going to be on the warm side with this rain. And we have this corridor of rain here just west of Charleston, West Virginia. This is going to take its time tracking eastward, and that'll be here a little bit later on this afternoon. So in the meantime, right now we have more clouds the farther east you are, more clear sky the farther west. But clouds will fill in during the day today, so sunshine with increasing clouds. Before the rain gets here, temperatures should jump into the low and mid 70s across the metro, some 60s right up against the coast and also to the north and west. Good chance of rain mid to late afternoon into the evening with maybe even some thunderstorms. Not expecting severe weather, but we'll have some gusts today over 30. And with some of these showers, may have some gusts 35, 40 miles an hour. Main batch of rain gets out of here by about mid-evening. A couple spotty showers left over behind that. But tomorrow we clear on out. It tends to be in the 30s to around 40 degrees. And tomorrow a bit cooler with highs in the 50s and low 60s. Tomorrow sunny and breezy. Some gusts over 25. Will be breezy again on Saturday with a high of 71. A cold front will come through in the evening. No rain with that, but it will cool us down on Sunday, a high of 62. Chance of some showers on Monday near 70, and then some low to mid 60s through midweek, and maybe a shower on Wednesday. Rob, Reba?
All right, thanks, Mike. Honoring the legacy of a group of college students who helped usher the civil rights movement in Richmond, our Antoinette Esser shares how a fundraising event is hoping to support a movie production on the Richmond 34.
Welcome back. 65 years ago, a band of college students helped usher in the civil rights movement here in Richmond. And now a movie is being made right now honoring the group known as the Richmond 34.
A fundraiser to support the movie's production is underway. Antoinette Essa tells us more.
We weren't taught to be afraid of anything. It was like, you're here and you're just as good as anybody else.
Richmond 34 Virginia Union University students. They walked down to Tallheimer's department store. They got tired of segregation, discrimination, gentrification. They got tired of it, so they decided to go down and do something about it.
And on that day, February 22nd, 1960, 34 students were arrested for a nonviolent sit-in at a whites-only lunch counter, a moment sealed in civil rights history.
Oh God, it is very important, and I'll get emotional. It's so important because realistically, no one knows who these people are.
Before I know it, they said, they made the statement, if you do not leave now, you're going to be under arrest.
Now, more than 6 decades later, Reverend Dr. L.K. Harris wants the world to see their story on the big screen.
Sometimes in our lives, we have the opportunity to make a difference, to make a change.
It started with a call from Pastor Vincent Scott Brave to do a feature on a member of the 34.
His father was one of the Richmond 34, and he was actually one of the first to be arrested, and he brought it to my attention about 3 years ago, and he asked me to do a movie about his father. So as I dove into it, I found out this movie was so much larger.
It was such a wonderful thing to realize that we were strong enough to make a stand.
And then Richmond 34, A Silent Victory was born, a docudrama on the students and their supporters.
But it's over 200 people that was there. But 34 sat there and decided they were not going to move until the police came and locked them up.
In his research, Dr. Harris recalls a conversation with one of the Richmond 34 and a reaction from a bystander.
This old man tried to spit on me. And so I asked her, how did you feel about that? I hated it, I hated them, but at the time we had to do what we had to do.
Of course, this story wouldn't be complete without the support of the Black History Museum and Culture Center of Virginia.
When we talk about Black excellence, when we talk about resilience, when we talk about courage, when we talk about perseverance, this is one of those stories that encapsulates all of that.
The museum also acted and recreated a lunch space with an exhibit in its lobby. To complete the making of Richmond 34, The Silent Victory, there's a fundraiser on March 23rd at the Black History Museum. The event will feature speakers including Chief Warrant Officer 5 Philip Brashear, the son of Master Diver Carl Brashear from the movie Men of Honor, Grammy-nominated James Saxmo Gates, a viewing of the movie trailer, and host Clovia Lawrence will kick things off at 2 p.m. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. Here at the Black History Museum, Wright says visitors are eager to support and remember this important time in history.
So making that connection to what took place and just recognizing and again making that connection to say, because of what they did, that silent victory, that was a part of what was happening so that I'm able to do what I can do today.
The Richmond 34 is a permanent exhibit at the Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia. Of course, if you'd like more information, you can visit our website. That's WTVR.com. Antoinette Essa at the Black History Museum, CBS 6 News.
Here's a look at your primetime lineup.
Delays downtown. Take a look at the flashing lights. This is 95 southbound at the James River Bridge. Mile marker 73 Commerce Road, Maury Street. That south right side of the roadway remains blocked, and we are seeing some minor delays. Heads up for a crash along Route 1 near Atwell Drive, and seeing delays here, Route 288 south near Route 10 Iron Bridge Road. Mike?
Well, we're going to have some sun. Clouds will increase today. It'll be warm and breezy. Highs low in mid-70s. A good chance for some showers and storms, especially mid to late afternoon. And then breezy weather continues next couple days. A little cooler tomorrow, warmer Saturday, and then cooler again Sunday.
Okay, we're back in 25 minutes. We'll see you then.